we may have seen the last of these vigils. There is a new national security law being imposed by Beijing. It's being drafted in Beijing right now, and it's expected to crack down very harshly on dissent and introduce mainland-style censorship to Hong Kong. And we've already seen some of the top Chinese leaders suggesting that the Tiananmen Vigil will be banned in the future.
Will be banned in the future with or without COVID-19. You saw this coming even before last month's plenary in Beijing?
I think people didn't expect it to come so quickly. Last year, of course, there was a controversy about extraditing defendants from Hong Kong to China. And after a round of furious protests, that was put on hold. I think what was not expected is that they would come up with a much more draconian measure so soon after the protests. In effect, this new law brings China to Hong Kong. It's no longer necessary to send defendants from Hong Kong to China.
There's been the argument made, Beijing knows it's going to be financial pain, but sometimes it's not about the economy. It's willing to pay that price because, in this case, politics matters more?
The problem is that it's probably a misdiagnosis, because the whole theory behind the law is that Hong Kong has a bunch of pro-independence separatists who are funded and organized by foreign forces. And so it's so important to clamp down on it. But in fact, this is probably a figment of someone's imagination up in Beijing. I mean, the reality is these are pro-democracy protests. Very few people are asking for independence, and there's no evidence at all of any foreign forces. So they're actually misdiagnosing the disease, and they're applying a medicine which will in fact kill the patient. So it's a completely unfortunate situation.
Are you saying that Beijing doesn't get Hong Kong?
Yes, I think so, because we see that it listens to a small group of closely chosen pro-Beijing Hong Kongers, Carrie Lam, her cabinet, and so on. And unfortunately, we've seen from her statements that she misrepresents the situation in Hong Kong. For example, she says many people in Hong Kong support this law. She says she's heard positive things only about the law. But when you're actually here on the ground, you can see extremely wide opposition. So one recent survey was 62% of people are against it. So unfortunately, Beijing seems to have chosen to listen to people who are telling it what it wants to hear.